Change begins now. Britain's new Premier, Keir Starmer, wins huge mandate to be boring. London. The backdrop was noticeably light, on celebratory Union Jack flag waving, the jubilation detectable but restrained, the speech enthusiastic and self-certain, also understated. The priorities? Heal, restore, build up. We did it, new British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said at a victory rally Friday morning inside the towering turbine hall of the Tate Modern Art Museum in central London. Change begins now. Starmer's Labour Party just ejected the Conservatives from power after winning an election landslide. Labour secured its biggest parliamentary majority since Tony Blair's prime ministerial days a quarter of a century ago. A government viewed by many Britons as hectic and incompetent, all rhetoric, no policy, was shown the door. 5 consecutive Conservative prime ministers, capped off with Rishi Sunak, was apparently more than enough for a nation where leadership of late has been an over-caffeinated, or more, revolving door. Starmer is the country's 4th prime minister in less than 2 years. Now we can look forward and walk into the morning, Starmer said under the glare of the cameras at 5 a.m. as he promised to work for better times in Britain. The sunlight of hope, pale at first, but getting stronger through the day, shining once again on a country with the opportunity, after 14 years, to get its future back. While Starmer spoke inside about the possibility of sunlit uplands, outside it threatened rain, a reminder that Britain is, for quite a lot of people, what the opinion columnist Andrew Marr said of his country in a piece for the New Statesman magazine: beaten down, demoralized and, in a rackety condition. There's a lot to do. Despite 14 years in government, economists say the Conservatives failed to achieve any notable economic growth. A cavalier pledge to take Britain out of the European Union, to take back control over immigration, failed spectacularly. Arrivals are now higher than before Brexit. As that geopolitical divorce is known, the nation's welfare services are struggling. There are not enough teachers. The prison system is a mess. The public feels drained by scandal and division. Few in the working and middle classes feel buoyant about their prospects. The country is in a complete and utter state, and people haven't been upfront about it, said Baroness Louise Casey, a former British official who has advised Labour and Conservative governments on social welfare issues as well as police reform. Casey spoke at an election night event Thursday night at King's College London. She is a member of the House of Lords, Britain's unelected second chamber, which scrutinises legislation. A comparison to when Labour last won a landslide, the 1997 election that ushered in Blair's time in office, could not be more high contrast. A new dawn has broken, has it not? Blair said chirpily, addressing a cheering crowd of supporters as the sun rose over London after he won that vote for Labour. Then too, more than a decade of Conservative rule in Britain was coming to a sudden, sharp end. Overnight, Britain's political landscape was transformed. Blair's was the largest majority of any Labour government ever. A record 6 Conservative cabinet members, all party grandees, lost their seats. Within months, the country changed in ways big and small. Hong Kong's sovereignty was transferred back to China. Important steps were taken that led to the Good Friday Agreement, peace in Northern Ireland. The first of author J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter books was published. Private gun ownership was banned almost entirely after a school shooting in Dunblane, Scotland. Diana, Princess of Wales, died in a car crash in Paris. But unlike now, Britain's economy 27 years ago was booming. Its deregulated financial markets were the envy of Europe. Employment was on the rise. The worker strikes that had dominated Margaret Thatcher's tenure as the Conservatives sold off nationalised coal and steel industries to private owners were a distant memory. Blair was boisterous and kinetic. Starmer is managerial and grey. Still Starmer, a bespectacled 61-year-old former human rights lawyer, whose oratory provokes more drowsiness than hope. More may be just what Britain needs, according to political scientists and former officials. What do we want? We want boring. When do we want it? We want it now. It's a very British type of regime change, said Richard Whitman, a professor of politics at the University of Kent.